Percentages are absolutely everywhere, right? From figuring out a sale price to nailing a question on an exam. But let's be honest, doing them in your head can feel kind of clunky and slow. Well, today we're going to fix that. We are going to turn those confusing problems into simple, fast mental shortcuts you can use instantly.
All right out of the gate, how fast can you solve this? Find 37.5% of 640. Now, if your first instinct was to reach for your phone or a calculator, you are in exactly the right place. I promise by the end of this, you'll solve problems just like this one in seconds, all in your head.
You know, the real problem is that the way most of us were taught percentages just isn't built for speed. It works, sure, but it's not fast. We're about to unlock a few secrets that are going to completely rewire how you look at these numbers, making you way faster and a lot more confident.
Okay, let's start with the absolute foundation of our entire toolkit, the 10% trick. Seriously, this is the most important building block for pretty much every mental math hack that follows. Our brains are just better at simple stuff like dividing and adding, not weird multiplication. This trick taps right into that. If you master this one thing, you are already halfway there.
It is literally that simple. Want 10% of 840? It's 84. 10% of 560? That's 56. 10% of, 20,000? It's 2,000. This rule is your golden key. It always works, and it lets you build up to any other percentage you can think of, piece by piece.
So, how do we actually use it? Let's take a real-world example. Say you need to find 35% of 840. Now, instead of doing that messy 840 times 0.35 thing, we're going to build the answer using our new trick.
And here's the breakdown. It's so clean. We start with our 10%, which we know is 84. Easy. To get 30%, we just need 3 of those, right? So 84 times 3 is 252. Now for that last 5%, well, 5 is just half of 10. So we just take half of our 10% value, which is 42. You add those two pieces together, and you get, boom, 294. No calculator, no complicated math. Just simple adding and multiplying that you can totally do in your head. That's the power of starting with that 10% block.
Okay, so the 10% trick is fantastic. It's our bread and butter. But if you want to get really fast, like pro-level fast, you need what I like to call the magic facts. These are just simple fraction conversions that let you solve tricky-looking problems in 1 or 2 steps. Let's check them out.
These right here, these are your new best friends. You've got to commit these to memory. Knowing that 12.5% is just another way of saying 1/8, or that 37.5% is 3/8, this is the single biggest game changer you can have. It turns annoying multiplication into super simple division.
And this is where it all comes together. Remember that gnarly question I asked at the very beginning? 37.5% of 640? Let's solve it again, but this time, let's do it the pro way. Look how clean that is. Instead of some awful calculation, you just remember that magic fact. 37.5% is the same as 3/8. So first you find 1/8 of 640, which is just 640 divided by 8. That's 80. And since you need 3/8, you just multiply that 80 by 3, and the answer is 240. Done. Just like that. Now these tricks aren't just for finding a percentage of a number. They're also crazy powerful for working backwards. And let me tell you, this type of question is a huge favorite on exams. So here's a perfect example. A number is decreased by 20%, and the result is 640. So, what was the original number? This is where a lot of people just get stuck. Their brain kind of short circuits. But the logic is actually really simple if you know how to look at it. The whole secret here is to stop thinking about what's gone and start thinking about what's left. If 20% was taken away, that just means 80% is still there. So, 80% of our mystery number equals 640. To find the original, we just do the reverse. Divide 640 by 0.8, which gives us 800. It really is that straightforward.
All right, we've got the basics down. We've got the pro-level hacks. Now it is time for the final level, spotting and disarming the traps. These are the kinds of questions that are specifically designed to trick you by playing on your assumptions.
Oh, this is the absolute classic. You increase something by 40%, and then you decrease that new number by 40%. Your brain is screaming that the answer is 0, right? That they just cancel out. But that's the trap.
The thing is, they aren't working on the same number. When you decrease by 40%, you're taking that percentage from a new, bigger number you just created. So the takeaway is always bigger than the add-on. The net result is actually a 16% decrease, The base changed, and that's the key to everything.
And here's another one you will see all the time. A store offers a 10% discount and then says you can take an additional 20% off. It feels like a 30% discount, doesn't it? But just like our last problem, it isn't.
But luckily, there's a super simple formula for this one. You just add the two discounts together, so 10 plus 20 is 30. Then you subtract their product divided by 100. So 10 times 20 is 200, divided by 100 is 2. 30 minus that 2 gives you the real discount, 28%.
And there you have it. In just a few minutes, we've gone from the basics all the way to disarming pro-level exam traps. You've just built a brand new, powerful mental toolkit for totally mastering percentages.
So let's do a quick recap of your new toolkit. First, always use that 10% trick as your foundation. Second, memorize those key fraction hacks. That's what gives you the insane speed. Third, for those tricky reverse problems, always think about what percentage is left. And finally, get suspicious when you see percentages back to back. Always remember, the base changes. And that kind of leaves us with one last thought. We just saw how problems that look really complicated on the surface are often built on really simple ideas. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other hard problems are out there, just waiting for you to find the simple trick that cracks them wide open?